G'day, Internet. Max right here, and I'm very excited today to have a long-time friend of the channel, Brett Fogel here. Brett, thank you so much for being here.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Now, here we are. This is one of our very first chats here, which is in the fourth quarter of 2023. And I've been eyeing this fourth quarter for quite a while. I've got a lot to talk to you about. We're going to talk about market trends. We're going to talk about what the charts are saying. We're going to talk about predictions for the next quarter and for the next couple of years for Bitcoin. And you've got an incredible, really, really cool free gift to talk about with everybody here at the end of the show. So make sure you stick around. You are going to absolutely love what Brett's going to give you later. It's completely free and you are going to love it. So, Brett, let's have a quick chat now about the markets. We're into it as we record this. We're in early October. So the markets, Bitcoin's floating around $27,000. We see the dollar kind of skyrocketing up a little bit. Give us a little bit of the macro landscape and tell us what it all means.
Yeah, thanks. Love to do that. And always enjoy being on the channel. And, it's been a little quiet here in the markets. It's been going kind of sideways for the most part, wondering when is the bottom in, which obviously I think it is. And where do we go from here? The dollar index, as you said, has been pushing up to about 107, which I expected it would, and kind of pulled back in. If we have time, I can pull up some charts here. But the overall picture here is I think Bitcoin is it's poised to go much higher. It's sort of at an inflection point, and it's in a nice upward trending channel, like upward to the right. So that's good. But there's still a caveat there, or still a specter of a head and shoulders pattern. And I'm leaning toward we go higher from here. But as we know, Bitcoin and crypto will sort of do what the least amount of people think it will, and that wrecks the most amount of people. So we're prepared to kind of see it come back down a little bit and bounce again. If we lose 25,300, that's a key level. Then I think we could see us go down to 20K again, which is there's a CME gap there, and that's a little bit technical for everybody. That's just a pattern that tends to fill. It's something to do with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And we won't get into things like that. But I'm excited. I like what I see, except for that dollar kind of continuing to push up and to the right. So we're keeping an eye on both of those. But either way, this is starting to look more and more bullish and heading into the end of the quarter and into next year.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so I my kind of predictions was I kind of predicted that this fourth quarter would be our local low. And so I'm very, very excited for 2024. Trying to guess, dollar cost averaging in around about this time seems pretty reasonable to me. I would say I'm probably leaning towards maybe getting down to that 25 at least again, and maybe even a little lower. So that's what I'm hoping for, so I can get in at the best possible price. You got to be careful at this point not to get stuck holding a big bunch of cash as Bitcoin skyrockets off into 2024, 2025. So that's the risk. Now, tell us a little bit about what's going on broader market cycles. We've got the dollar going up. What does that mean? Why is it happening? What does that mean for Bitcoin? Tie it all up for us.
Yeah, really interesting. Dollar was pushing up higher, I think, because of the short term, kick down the field of the Fed, basically saying that they were going to keep the government open. It's a stopgap, of course, and that's going to come around again here soon. But as far as why it keeps pushing higher, it's curious, and probably also because we're going to see more money printing at some point for everything that's happening with the dollar and the debt of the U.S. government. So, one of my old sayings is I always tell people, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. And basically that means there are efficient markets and people way smarter than us and floors full of PhDs that are examining and agonizing over the data all day long, and it shows up in the charts. So while it's a bit self-fulfilling, I tend to look at where I think things will go and not really ask why. But, you are more of the economist minded. So what do you think as far as the dollar going higher here?
Yeah, I think so. I'm a big fan of Brent Johnson's dollar milkshake theory. I've been following that for a long time, and I really, really like his reasoning, his methodology. I love the debates between him and Peter Schiff. They're both really, really smart, really, really good economists, really, really good at explaining their points of view. But this issue of the dollar screaming higher, I see as a real issue. And it's because I think my look is so negative on the economy and the world. And at a 50,000 foot view of that theory is that as the economy worsens, and if the economy worsens, the rest of the world hurts so much more than the US. for us here in the US, we're watching the news and we've got so many reasons to be bearish, like really good reasons to be bearish here in the US. Housing affordability, primarily, we've got interest rates skyrocketing. There's so many reasons to be bearish. But in comparison, the bearishness on the rest of the world, I think, is even more terrifying. I think China is in all kinds of trouble. Their real estate market is absolutely crumbling, and they're a huge portion, second biggest GDP nation in the world. And so as I look around the world, I see so many other problems that are even bigger than the US's problems. And so the question becomes, when they get in trouble, where is their flight to safety? And they only have a handful of options. There's a small amount, just because of the market cap size. There's the trillions of dollars floating around the world can't all cram into Bitcoin, quickly. That's just not how it works. Even gold, I would suggest, is not even big enough. I think both of those will benefit from it. But where I really see it's the US dollar is that first port of call, safe haven for most sovereigns and most big wealth funds. And that sends the dollar higher, which puts even more stress and more strain on those foreign markets. And then you get that self-fulfilling prophecy and loop. And then, as a kind of a tension release that the Fed benevolently does to the rest of the world, how kind we are, we go ahead and print some money. And the printing, we see, like, if you just go back to 2008, I'm just like, the Fed and Congress, they debated for months and months and months after the crisis. After Bear Stearns went down, I think it was like 9 months before the stimulus package went down. And it was the biggest in history. And it was well worth the debate. Should the government save markets? Should they? Question mark, and they answered that. And then we come around to this time around and like, well, COVID happens and boom, orders of magnitude bigger. Actually, it wasn't orders of magnitude, but it was a significantly bigger stimulus package. And it wasn't done in 9 months. It was done in weeks. And then you come around to the banks failing in, to early this year, March. And what do we see? We see the banks and the Fed come up with these facilities and print trillions of dollars and do it in days, absolutely days. So there was a big transition that happened in those last 15 years. Like in 2008, it was like, should the government interject? And that question is answered and is not debated for even 2 seconds anymore. The only question is, how much money do we print? And we'll notice that in all of these crises, the amount of printing goes up and up and up. So what I see happening is crisis, affordability led, just middle class getting hollowed out. We're going to see pullback. We'd expect to see a pretty weak retail season this year. Money come back. We'd start to see unemployment rise, and we'll see markets kind of tremble. There'll be a down leg in most of the markets, I believe, but it'll be very short-lived in markets like Bitcoin. I think real estate could suffer for years. I think Bitcoin will suffer very, very shortly because the response will be almost immediate, and the amount of printing that they will do will be absolutely astronomical. Again, we'll see that geometric progression and even bigger and bigger printing. And then people are going to, then the question comes into people's mind again. It's like, hang on a minute. I've had this conversation before, like 3 years ago during COVID, and my money printer goes burr, and Bitcoin price reacts. And so that's what I am kind of expecting long-term, loosely putting times and dates and measuring this in weeks. That makes it really, really difficult. But long-term, that's certainly what I'm thinking. I just suspect it might happen pretty soon here.
Yeah, very good. Great answer. And those of you watching, just a little bit of a teaser. One of the things we're going to be talking about later in the interview is a extension of this interview with Max and I. We are hosting a virtual crypto summit here, which is coming up, which is free. And Max is the headliner on day one. So this is a good preemptive interview for that, but I'll go into a little bit more detail. On the DXY, you can see I pulled up some charts here as you were talking, and just going all the way back to 2008, you can see, I was mentioning, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news, but you can clearly see this back in 2008, we bottomed all the way down here, and really it's been in kind of an upward trending channel ever since. And so, sometimes, often in charting, you don't have to make it too complicated. We're in an upward trend channel here. We'd like to see it top out and come back down again. What would trigger that? We don't know. But in the short term, in a sort of a little bit shorter time frame, we did push up to the 107 level, which I thought we would. This is on a weekly basis. If I go out to a daily, we were watching this. I said we go up to 107 and pull back. And as we know, typically it's an inverse relationship. So DXY pulls in, Bitcoin goes up. We saw a little bit of diversion there where they were both going up, but sure enough, we hit that 107 level and seeing a bit of a pullback. So really big question is, does the DXY kind of bounce and head higher, or does it continue to fall? So we're really watching these levels, and also on Bitcoin, where in two things. It's Bitcoin also has been in a nice upward trending channel, at least in the shorter time frame, back since May. So I like that. I always look for when does a new trend channel form, and anytime you can catch that early, it's a good thing. So certainly back from November of 2021, we were in a kind of macro downtrend, sort of bottomed out here in December. I don't know if you remember, in December, we were saying, hey, it's time to get in the markets. We launched a new sort of program, and that people thought I was crazy, but we were right. That was the exact bottom, and we pushed up about 100%. From there, pulled back. So we're still really up from the lows at 16.5, and which I'd put on a Facebook post in May of about 6 months before that. So we went right down to 16.5. Of course, didn't know about FTX, but since then, been in an upward trend channel and kind of at that bottom leg of it. So as far as where do I think things go, I like the fact that these moving averages are turning higher, and we're at this bottom leg of the trend channel, but also have a sort of a symmetrical wedge happening here. So I mentioned 25,300. That's been a significant level. If we lose that, I think it come back down. There are some other support levels back in this area, but really need to see it break above 32K. 32K is my line in the sand. If we have a close above, on a closing basis, above 32 up in this range, then it's a pretty fast run up to 48K, 50K, which is sort of the golden pocket Fibonacci, a retracement from the market cycle high. So we can kind of see that. So that's what I'm waiting for, to really go all in. It is a great place to sort of be dollar cost averaging here. And if we do go lower, adding to positions, but also seeing some nice looking charts on some of the altcoins and micro caps that we've been watching. So, waiting and watching to see what happens with Bitcoin. But should know soon enough. This is coming to a head, either breaks higher or breaks down a bit lower. And guys, keep you guys posted on the channel here with more videos as things start to heat up. But just really mostly been waiting it out because it has just been doing a lot of going nowhere, going sideways. So anyway, but that's what I see. And again, letting the charts sort of tell me what is happening out there, and then waiting for the catalyst, which is usually the form of news or FUD in the news.
Nice. Now, a great way for people to be able to stay abreast of these kind of things as they're happening is you have a monster event, I would call it. You got some fantastic names in the industry chatting away. Not giving myself tooting my horn too big there, but I'm in there. I'm looking forward to doing it. You got a lot of other great speakers in there, and it's a tremendous thing that you're putting on, and it's completely free for people. We're talking tons and tons of value over days. Why don't you go ahead and tell people a little bit more about it, how they can get involved, and how they can get there?
Yeah, thanks. And really glad to have you as the keynote to one of the first interviews we did. First person I wanted to interview for the summit. So it's called the Future of Crypto Summit, and it is going live next week, depending on when you're watching the video. So it starts October 26th, as you can see on the page. And all you have to do is go to futureofcryptosummit.com/max, and you can sign up for that. Again, it's completely free, and the interviews, we've had about 27 interviews. I've got one more to do with some of the top names in the industry, Mark Yusko, and some other people you might know. And of course, Max is headlining and is on day one, so you don't want to miss this. So just go to futureofcryptosummit.com/max. And I guess we'll put a link. You can put a link up in the video, but we'll go into a lot more of this. I'm one of the co-hosts. My business partner and I, Mike Newton, who founded a company called Moonstream, where we've been giving sort of picks and newsletter for a while, but that's not here to talk about that. We can see Max right here, of course, and just all of the speakers talking about topics like, let's see, Max, you talked about hardest money in history, using Bitcoin to destroy inflation. Great topic and a great interview that was. And things like buying the dip, wallets, the good, bad, and the ugly of keeping your keys, the hidden agenda behind central bank digital currencies, international dual citizenship secrets. This is Katie, known as Kate the Russian, talks about how to set up citizenship internationally, and even things like running your own Bitcoin node, building more freedom from Bitcoin. So you can go and look at all the topics and speakers here on the page. Talk about trading bots, market cycles, and there's Juan, your good friend and fellow channel contributor. Juan, was great to get to know him at the Bitcoin conference and meeting him through you, Max, and just a great lineup of people that and topics that really proud of how it turned out. So anyway, you can find out more there. It's register for free. There is an option to get all the recordings, but it's just to cover the the cost of like all of the putting it all together. So, and anyway, and there's FAQs down at the bottom. So not a huge sales pitch here, just really wanting to do it to build a community and reach out to you guys and answer a lot of the questions that we keep hearing. And these topics came directly from questions that we surveyed people that what do you most want to know in the crypto industry at this time. So anyway, that's what it's about, and happy to answer any questions about that. But I'm really excited to kick that off. Again, that's October 26th, 27th, 28th, virtually, so you can sit at home in your bunny slippers and watch that from home or from wherever.
Yeah, that is, it's for this, things like this are just such a tremendous value to the community. It's well organized. I know you guys know your stuff. You got a great lineup there. And so the link will be in the description, guys. Go ahead, click that link, sign up for that. You'll get all the notifications. You'll get the videos sent straight to you, and you can watch them all and enjoy them all for free at home. An incredible gift for everybody here. Anything else you want to finish off with, Brett?
No, thanks for the time, and really enjoying updating people on some of the feedback. So we'll continue to do that. Things are starting to heat up. I would just say, as Mark Yusko says, get off of zero. And as many people have said, the time in the markets is usually better than timing the markets. And so we think it's a good time to start legging into the crypto, Bitcoin, and not being left behind when it does turn, because as we know, it can go quickly. And the big catalyst, of course, the BlackRock ETF, there's a small chance, it's a non-zero chance, not likely, but October 17th, there's some, this is coming right up. There's a few ETFs that could get approved, probably won't, but I'm always leave that small door open to a big surprise. Probably, though, happens early next year, and that will skyrocket the prices. And we've been doing a lot of research around that too. A really interesting article by Arthur Hayes recently about and how this thing could really take off. And he's talking about $750,000 Bitcoin. You've got Kathy Wood predicting $1 million Bitcoin. So, there is a scenario that we've shown the path to $100,000 Bitcoin. I certainly think we can get there in the next bull run, and probably, I think 150 as high as 205, 210K on the next bull run. But, as we know, a lot of uncertainty out there. So we'll take it one step at a time, and we'll keep you guys updated.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks to Brett. Hit the link in the description to go and sign up for the summit. And guys, I'll see you later. Take care.
All right. Thanks so much.